he was also involved in that. I've got a question. What precipitated this? Everybody that I talk to wants to know what's going on. And some other people here tonight, same question. I have no answer for them. Everybody has an opinion, and it's either this is hinged to the Mercer County Airport sale or complete incompetence in the zoning office. Has to be something. Do you have anything, Mercer?
Well, that was the only other question I had, is what precipitated it after 55 years, or 65 years respectively. And, I got to stand up. And, I mean, you know, they've been around forever. Like I said, mine was registered in 1955. The certificate was rescinded in 1997 at my request because, look at me, I went down just off my strip, not because of the strip. But anyway, and I just thought, I can't find it. So at our request, we had it rescinded. But it still bothers me, the tone of the letter and the suggestion of the letter. This is what bothers me more than anything, was first of all, if an investigation was done, they would have found out that one, my airstrip was gone, and everything. But the tone of the letter made it sound like we willfully violated a zoning ordinance. And the airports, our two airports, existed before there was any zoning that directly addressed. And so I'm just puzzled as to what was the motivating factor. Why now? And why was there such a knee-jerk reaction when we questioned it? To the point where there was even kind of threats that if he didn't comply by June 1st, that they'd call the sheriff on you. Civil prosecution. Why? Why did this happen? Can anybody on this board tell us why? And it's simple. There's either a truth or there's a lie. And we just want to know why. You know, and I also want to say that we appreciate the reconsideration of your position on the existing restricted landing areas. I don't want you to think, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's puzzling to us. It's puzzling us that have been lifetime citizens in Mercer County that something like this would occur. And that's just, I've just got that question to you. Why?
I'd just like to just speak for myself as a board member. First, I had no idea the letters were going out. Okay. And with regards to the airport sale, nobody on this board's talked about anything other than the correct way to sell the airport. And so, I mean, is this the letter we're talking about? In the process of updating our records, it has come to my attention that you have a privately owned runway on your property that is registered with the FAA. According to the Mercer County zoning ordinance, Ag 1 District, Section 7.3, number 7, a private landing strip is not a permitted use. However, it could be classified as a conditional use, and there is an application process for applying for a conditional use permit. I am requesting that you submit to my office within 7 days written documentation as to whether the runway is that the letter? Well, I think, you know, and I'm not trying to speak for the zoning officers or the zoning department, but as a taxpayer in the county myself, I got somewhat the same letter a year ago saying that they were updating the records, and as a result, my taxes went up.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I mean,
my taxes go up every year.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm just saying that as far
I pay
as,
some of the highest taxes in this county.
I mean, you asked for a reason for the zoning board, and I'm just throwing up a possibility. I don't know if that's why they sent them out or not, but the following letter, dated
This is
12,
what was rescinded.
I'm writing you in response to our phone conversation dated June 8th. Your airport is grandfathered and according to the date I had acquired from the FAA on the registration of your airstrip. What that means is you do not have to obtain a conditional use permit. However, if at any point in time the property is sold or changes hands in any way, the rezoning process will have to be started over from the beginning. I think, you know, what I heard was a form letter went out and the responses brought Greg's office in, and that's when all the contact happened between the people in the airstrips and the Mercer County. But, you know, your question of the board is what necessitated, I have no idea. I didn't know it was that.
Our state's attorney does.
I do.
Last year, there was a investigation of a zoning case for possible zoning violations. One of the sub-issues was the airstrip issue. That wasn't a big deal back then. Later on, that same issue came up, and zoning asked, what should we do? And I said, well, if it's not in our code, then it's got to be brought up to code. So I said, I didn't even know we had private airstrips. So I said, instead of just checking out one person, you know, if we have a half dozen of these, let's make sure everyone's legal. So that was last year, way before the airport stuff started. I asked zoning to contact everyone with an airstrip so we weren't picking on someone. That was the only point of it last year. It's just like animal control. Every couple of years, we write people who's supposed to have dogs and say you didn't do your license thing. You know, you still got a dog, come and get your license. It wasn't anger, you know, at anyone special. It was just trying to find out, is everyone up to date?
It just struck me as odd that this has been going on, you know, for 55 years. And in one of my communications, I was told, well, this has to be done every year, because I explained the process we went through where we had to, you know, survey the township within a mile radius, because of course that's your pattern, and make sure that there was no one, you know, an easement such as it were, that no one had any objections to the airstrip being there. And then I was told, you've got to do that every year, which I don't think is true.
You know, if your grandfather and you're free, they should have sent you the letter pre-84, you're okay. But it's like, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I said animal control the first time it was 2 years ago because it'd never been done, and we had all these dogs not being registered. And then this year there was a possible investigation of an airstrip, so I said check them all.
Okay.
Treat
So,
everybody,
well, then
treat everybody equally.
That answers our question. You see, there was an issue, and then you sent out everybody. See, we didn't know that there was an issue concerning an airstrip, and that was it. All of a sudden, we just get this letter saying, you're in violation, you know, and it kind of sets you off, you know. and so, but now you see, that's the explanation, and we have it now,
Yeah.
and that's what we wanted.
Good. Well, I called Mr. Young too and tried to explain the process.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to say something too, because Mr. Young called me shortly after receiving that letter, and he brought over a copy of it, and I called down here to the zoning officer. And Davina told me, this was, I think it was 2 days later that after Mr. Young brought the letter into me, so I asked her what was going on. I had all these calls from citizens describing the letter that they got, and she said it's a form letter. So then I was explaining to her, why all of a sudden this? Who complained? If there was no such, you know, complaint, why did you bring it up? If there's no record in the zoning, how did they find out about these? Was it on an aviation sectional map? So when I told her, and she essentially told me that these have to be rezoned, and I told him, I said, that airstrip, as Jerry told me, has been there for 60-some years. And, you know, there's been no complaints, anything like that. She wasn't so cordial on the phone when I was talking to her, which I think a lot of this problem really boils down to Miss Logston and how she's running that office. I've asked for any type of credentials to see what type of experience that she had in zoning, and she was not able to give me any. I asked her to be here tonight to ask. She was not here. This is not just the citizens who own airstrips. I think this is a pathology that's going on in this county about a lot of people that have zoning issues.
I told her not to come tonight.
What's that?
I told her not to come tonight.
Because, I'll give you an example. This right here, this is the letter I got. And I'll put it up here so everybody can see. This is from you, Mr. McHugh. January 10th. And it's directed at me and my wife, one of those similar threat letters that you got, saying that we violated zoning by having two events at our barn. And they sent me evidence of this. One is Mitch and Amy's Big Red Barn wedding. The next one is the Winter Antique Festival at the Big Red Barn. And I asked my wife, because she was as confused as me, what is this? So I got on my computer and I did some Google search. Well, yes, Mitch and Amy did get married at the Big Red Barn. The problem, that Big Red Barn is located in Fort Collins, Colorado. Now, is this competence? I mean, this is so incompetent, I can't believe it. Not only it reflects incompetence in the zoning, it makes Mr. McHugh look incompetent. I mean, and then we talk about what Miss Davina said, to maybe Mr. Young, and we're supposed to always believe the government or the county instead of the citizen? When it comes to Ms. Logston, I don't know how credible she is. Here's a copy from a court document from Henderson County where she was convicted for deceptive practices. Is this the same person we're going to believe against a citizen? This is just the headlines in the county Times Record. Mercer County government fails transparency audit. I mean, and I asked her to be here tonight because I think this board should take consideration of having Ms. Logston resign from her position, because we don't need this problem in our county when this county is having so much problem on its own. And you know, how many other people have received letters like this that were afraid to come forth to either the news, as Mr. Young did, the newspaper, or come forth, either hire an attorney or coming forth to this board? No, they're scared. They're intimidated. And we should not let the county bully our citizens. This is obscene.
We're bullying our citizens at this board level?
Not at this board level, but when it comes to the zoning, I would say that's bullying.
I would ask you one question, Brian.
Ask me.
Are you in violation of our current zoning laws?